Real Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Corey Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
Well, welcome back. This is Corey Boatwright. I am the founder of Real Estate Investing Profits and your host here on Profit Masters podcast series. I hope you're having a productive, fun, incredible day. And what I am going to do is bring you another just incredible interview with an investor out in Florida. And his name is Gabriel Garcia. Now, Gabriel is in one of my mastermind groups, the Collective Genius, and he is just knocking it out of the park out in Miami-Dade County. And he is someone that you're going to learn a lot from. He goes through some of the particular ways that he's knocking it out of the park right now. And he's someone that you're going to laugh about because we're actually going to show a rap video that he put together. And it's a positive rap video. And you're going to see just kind of the depth of Gabriel and all the different layers that makes him who he is. So make sure that you listen all the way through on the podcast. I certainly appreciate that you do. We are continuing to trend. I love it so much, and it's all because of you. So thank you so much for, one, sharing the podcast with others, with your friends on Facebook, on Twitter. Also, make sure you download your Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, the down and dirty Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, by simply texting the word profit to 38470. That's texting the word profit to 38470. It'll automatically come right to your phone. All right, so here you go. Here is Mr. Gabriel Garcia. Bye now. Gabriel, what's up, my man?
What's up, Corey? How are you, man?
I'm doing phenomenal. Now, you are in what part of Florida?
I'm in Broward County. I typically just say Miami because I'm literally like 5 minutes away from Miami.
Right. Now, do you do some of your investing right there in Broward and Dade County, right? There's another Dades right there too, correct?
Yeah, so we do Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach.
Okay. And, well, thanks for taking the time to be on here. You and I are in a mastermind group together, the Collective Genius, an incredible group for real estate investors. And I want to talk to you about some things that are working in your real estate business. Obviously, you've kind of listened to some of the episodes of this show. We ask the same questions to every single guest to really get their take on what's working. We call it our Profit Master series. I'd like for you to take a few moments here, Gabriel, to introduce yourself and then also talk about what is your specific area in real estate that's your expertise.
Sure. So my name is Gabriel Garcia. I consider myself, a spiritual being in this physical body that's just chosen to do real estate for right now in this particular stage of my life.
Just had a baby?
Just had a baby.
Congratulations.
Turning 9 months now, February. Gabriel Jr.
Just learning to walk or crawl right now.
Yeah, just learning to walk and crawl. We named him Gabriel Satori Garcia, and Satori's it's a Japanese term for enlightenment. So it's pretty cool, man. He's brought us a lot of joy. As far as my expertise, I would say my expertise is probably in building a real estate business with, I say, a really great, solid team, man, that we can just count on, rely on to get stuff done without having to micromanage them.
Right.
And then in the field of real estate, particularly in buying and selling houses and learning how to get discounted deals directly through homeowners instead of dealing with realtors or banks or any of that stuff.
You're doing wholesaling or fix and flip mostly, or a combination?
We're doing a combination. We started off just wholesaling, then we transitioned into rehabbing. Last year we did 51 transactions. I think out of the 51, I'd say probably like 30% was rehabbing. The other 70 was wholesaling. This year, it's actually probably going to go the other way around, just because our margins are double pretty much on the rehab side. Right. And the way the market is right now, there's so much appreciation going on in our market that just by closing on a house and waiting an extra 3 or 4 months, you're getting more equity that you didn't have to work for on the properties.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty good right now.
Well, that's awesome. What's the average kind of acquisition number for your houses right now when you're doing your flips?
Like profit number? You mean?
No, just your acquisition. What you put the property under contract for?
What it costs us to acquire the property?
Yes.
On average, I mean, I haven't looked at it this quarter yet, but last quarter we were like at we're about $5,000 per deal.
Per deal, okay. But what was the price? So let's see, you put it in a contract for. Are you dealing $200,000 houses out there? Are you dealing $300,000 houses? Are you dealing $100,000 houses?
Man, it varies so much because South Florida is an interesting market. It's, you got the hood and you can buy properties for 20, 30K, and you got these super nice areas where you could pick up houses for 500,000, 600,000. You could, middle income areas, you could pick up houses for 2 or 3. I mean, our average type deal, turnaround deal, I'd say we're playing with houses on the average basis where the ARV is probably somewhere around the 200 to $150,000, $60,000 range.
You're probably putting them under contract for 75 to 100, somewhere in there, right?
More or less, yeah. I mean, we're pretty much buying stuff, 50, 60 cents on the dollar.
50, 60 cents on the dollar. Yeah. So let's just say, well, just make it easy math then. So I just always think it's really interesting because we do this business and, we do wholesaling here in Oklahoma too. And I think it's just really easy sometimes to forget that even at $100,000 house at 50 houses, let's just say, and this was out throwing in, off the average, which would be your $200,000 or $500,000 houses. Occasionally, this would mess up your average, but even at that, at 50 houses, you're dealing already in a $5 million, $6 million business for your total kind of acquisitions for real estate. And it starts to add up really fast. Even though that you're flipping these deals or flipping contracts. Now you actually
new in total revenue last year, like incoming revenue, we were like at 1.4 million. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts to add up really, really fast on this business. So let me ask you, what made you get involved with real estate?
As we were just talking now, I showed you my music video and stuff. I was in music.
I love it. I never knew that. This funny. If you're not watching the video, just listening to this right now. I'm gonna see if I can actually. Would you give me permission to put it in the show notes? A link to the video. Would you let me do that or not?
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. So I wonder if I could let me see if I can play it, just a little bit of it. Now I have to turn my my audio down where it's not going double the speed of video. But listen to this. This is Gabriel.
Take it up for the whole mind elevation, embracing, relacing, taking the patience to blow up our dreams, prepare for detonation. And maybe I'm just doing my thing, I'm taking it to the top, I'm just living my dreams. I'm doing right as it seems, so God help me, I hope that
I love it. This is how I normally listen to these. This is one thing that Gabriel and I were actually having a quick conversation about. This is how I normally listen to videos. This is double the speed.
I'm doing my thing, I'm going up to the top, just pursuing my dreams. I'm doing right as it seems, so God help me, I hope that is destined to be. I hope that is destined to be. I hope that is destined for me. What I'm trying to reach, what I'm trying to see. I know I gotta get so.
It's funny. You actually can teach yourself to retain listening like that. That's great, though, man. I love it. Thanks for letting me post that. So, what made you get involved from rapper, right, to real estate investor? I love it. There's my headline right there: from rapper to real estate investor.
Yeah, so like I started doing music like at 16. It was a hobby and became a passion. And at that time, I felt like that's what I wanted to do because I felt like, man, all these rappers are getting rich, that I see. And if I can get rich off doing music, that's awesome. Right. It's a win-win, right? So, I tried the route. I did it. I just didn't have really any business experience. I didn't market myself. Like you said, you didn't know anything about that, right? I wasn't really marketing myself as an artist. I was just a guy in the lab recording songs, thinking one day I'd get that big moment and it'll pop. And I went to school for music business. I worked in studios. I worked for some record labels, did some interning at record labels, became a studio manager for some studios and stuff.
So you're actually in charge of a lot of the audio, video components of that, all of the mix down, all of that process, correct?
Yeah, the recording, the mixing, all that stuff.
Okay.
once I graduated from school, and life reality kind of set in, that it was, hey, no more mom and dad taking care of me. I got my own man now. I got to pay my bills.
Right.
I had, now I was in a serious relationship with.
So you went from one school to a school of hard knocks.
So school of hard knocks. And, I just felt like it wasn't really music, and also I matured a lot.
Right.
I found my spiritual path at a young age that, and I gained maturity at a young age, and I realized that the ambience of music, like the people you surround yourself with in music, for the most part, it's a tough business, man. It's a business that you're at that requires nightlife, which I'm not a nightlife person.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You're around people constantly under the influence of alcohol or drugs and this, and you're constantly dealing with people just on a low vibration, man.
That's interesting you talk about that too, because we spent a whole new episode. Maybe we'll talk about some of that later on how that's affected you with, your kind of low levels of vibration, and how that's important to your kind of, not only your psyche, but your attitude and everything else, your energy around you. But yeah, when you're dealing with a lot of these creative types, let's just call it, right? Some of it is, they blame it on that. They have to be in that state of kind of euphoric. Let's example, Jimi Hendrix wrote some of his best work, right? The guitarist and the musician Jimi Hendrix, we all heard of, wrote some of his best work when he had 3 or 4 things of LSD on under his headband. So when he was up there jamming on the guitar, he was actually just high off out of his gore, but he was writing some of this most creative stuff. So to be able to be in that world, there's almost an excuse, right, that you have to be under the influence. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, and it's just a trap, man. It's just a negative illusion. You could call it, the Christians call it the devil. It's just a trap from the devil. In my path, we call it the cow, the negative force. It's just a trick, because you can really learn to tap into that creativity in a natural way, without the influence of drugs. But a lot of people don't know that, and it's not something that people go out in the open and talk about. Hey, I know how to meditate, and I can open my third eye and, transfer all this creativity. People are going to look at you like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But you come in and you say, hey, I smoked a blunt of weed and I was seeing this stuff and I felt creative. People are like, yeah, I can relate to that, So it's just an illusion, because you can do it naturally without.
Right. Instead of relying on that as kind of your leverage for, having to do it. Well, take me from then, right, to this kind of world of music and mixed down and all that to real estate investing.
So basically, once once reality set in, and I was with my wife now, and knew that we had to pay the bills.
How long you guys been married now?
Well, we're actually just getting married now.
Okay.
We've been together 6 years.
Okay.
And when we were together, it was like, I was in school. I was only getting like $1,000 a month, and I'm like, man, like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do when I'm done here, but I want freedom, because like $1,000 a month ain't doing it.
Not cutting, especially in Miami.
Yeah, it's just like, it was so like, it was actually the best thing that happened to me, to be honest, because it was so like restricting of me.
Right.
Like man, like every day was like looking at every dollar, what you can spend, what you can't spend. And like it was so restrictive that I knew that whatever I was going to do, freedom was the ultimate goal. Like whatever was going to take me there, didn't matter what it was, but freedom was it.
Was there a breaking point? Was there this thing where it's like, I got to do something different?
Yeah, I mean, there was. When I was working, basically, once I left school, I got some warehouse jobs, dude, because that's the only thing I could really get that was paying the bills.
And you're pretty young right now, right? So how old are you, if you would mind me asking?
I'm 27.
Yeah, so young. Gosh, you're so young. So you've been with your soon to be wife for 6 years. So yeah, this is 21. I mean, you're literally like in your early 20s here, still in your early 20s, really. But so you went to a warehouse job, and then at the warehouse job, was there just something on just going, you can do this real estate thing, or you watched somebody, you went to a seminar? What happened?
Well, funny, real estate wasn't in my consciousness at the time. With the warehouse job sucked. I left in 2 weeks. I was getting treated like shit from the managers. They were like, they wouldn't even let me sit down for 5 minutes to take a break. And
right.
I was like, man, I can't do this shit.
Right.
So make a long story short, it just, just being broke sucked, dude, and being and I wanted to be self-reliant. I didn't want to rely on my parents. I wanted to provide for my fiance, and so one day we just decided to go to the bookstore, and I said, "Man, we're here." I said, "I need to learn about money because I don't have money. My bank account's on empty, and I need to learn about money." So I started going into the money section and the business section, and just
Like at Barnes and Nobles or like Porter's Bookstore or something.
Barnes and Nobles,
I love it. I used to stay all day sometimes. I went into Barnes and Nobles one time, no joke. I stayed from whenever they opened to whenever they left at night.
Dude, if for anyone listening to this, if you're broke and you're listening to this, go live in Barnes and Nobles.
Seriously,
right? Buy a cup of coffee or a tea or whatever,
right.
And go every single day and just read and devour information because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. They expect you to go in there and to, read books and yeah, that's great. Now, if you're taking your laptop, they actually restrict you because you don't have a place to plug in. And it's because people hang out there for so long, but absolutely you get a great education. Okay. So you went into Barnes & Noble, you looked at the make money section or the money section, financial section, and then you stumbled upon what's your first real estate kind of awareness?
The Richest Man in Babylon one, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Started getting my mind to think differently. And then what really turned it around was when I found the Robert Kiyosaki books.
So your biggest influence is Robert Kiyosaki.
For sure, to really branch into real estate. Like I did the first book I read was Cash Flow 101, and he put on these the Cash Flow Quadrant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Cash Flow Quadrant is great. Yep.
He put in all these, it was very philosophical in a sense, and he puts in all these philosophical terms about money, and I had a lot of resistance to it. I was having a hard time getting it, and I was fighting myself with these ideas, but I'm like, I want to understand this because if what he's saying is true and what I believe is false, and this is stopping me from success, and I need to tweak whatever false preconceptions I have about money.
Yeah, because you're probably looking at yourself in what quadrant you were. You're like, I'm over here in this self-proprietor quadrant. I want to be in the business quadrant, or at least in the self-employed quadrant, or whatever, right?
For me, it started more off he was talking about the principles on money. Like, you don't need money to make money. That was one of them. I'm like, what? I'm like, how can that be?
Right. This whole point, you're like, I'm that's not worth it because I don't have money, right? And but then all of a sudden, someone gives you permission in a way, right? It's like, this guy's successful. He just gave me permission to be successful.
Exactly. And then it's you hear the other one, the rich don't work for money, and money works for them.
Right.
And so I started hearing these different, ways of thinking about money that I haven't really been exposed to before, because no one in my family is really, entrepreneurial in that type of sense, or really wealthy. So it's like I've never had that type of programming before. So really getting into that really changed. And then once I read a Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was just sold. I'm like, dude, real estate is where it's at for freedom. Like, this is it. And I put on my credit card to go to his seminar. I didn't have any money. I'm going on the credit card.
Right.
Put that in and started going. And little by little, I just kind of took what I learned from the seminar, applied it, made $1,000 here, $1,000 there. But I was working hard as hell, and I wasn't really making much money, but I knew this would work. So then it all changed around really when I got a mentor in the business to really guide me and just say, hey, just do this, and this, and you'll get there. Instead of because when you're reading and you're learning and it's first new, there's so many ways to make money. And so the hardest thing is to just focus, because you don't really know.
So true.
You don't
so
know
true.
What's going to do. So you're like, oh, you can do lease options, you can do wholesale, you can do rehab. And
short sales, whatever. Yeah.
And start doing everything, but you're not going to do nothing because you're just so spread out.
There's decision fatigue, dude. That's actually, it's decision fatigue can actually hold you back.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And you and I have a similar story with Rich Dad Poor Dad was a book that he actually said 9 out of 10 businesses fail. And I got really excited because I knew I had to start 10 businesses and one of them was going to succeed. I almost had that kind of moment of permission as well. Walk me through a mistake that you've made in real estate that you could kind of learn, that you've learned from, that you could help our listeners learn from.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as mistakes, made a lot. I still make mistakes all the time.
Pick one that you actually pulled a good lessons from.
I had actually thought about this before we spoke, but now that we're talking, I'll probably think of something else. I mean, I'd say the biggest mistakes I made when I first started was that I based my whole entire business dependent upon me, and all my marketing was dependent upon me. I mean, I wasn't even really truly marketing. I was just prospecting for deals on my own, hitting the pavement. And when I would make money, I would just kind of save it. And then I would use that later to start rehabbing, which was fine. But it gave me a lot of cash flow issues because, as you know, in the rehab business, dude, you can have $1 million in your account today and tomorrow it can be all gone.
Gone, yeah.
So, the biggest mistake for me was not building a marketing foundation from the beginning.
I like that.
And really just putting money for marketing month in, month out, and figuring out until that thing works and it actually just builds a business around the marketing foundation. I'd say that's the biggest mistake I made when I first started. If I would have done that from the beginning, we did 1.4 million this year. We'll probably do maybe in revenue, maybe 4 or 5 million this year. I would have been at these levels probably a year or a year and a half ago instead of now, just because we were learning, so we had to go through those mistakes to get to where we're at now.
Powerful, man. I love that. I love the concept of being able to be consistent with your marketing. So important. Now, every single deal, taking a minimum of 10%, if not more, out of every single deal, 100, you make 50 grand on one deal, you make 40 grand on one deal, take 4 grand, 5 grand, immediately set it aside for marketing. So you can start building a business and it's not dependent just on you, which a lot of times, I made all this money and you really didn't. Once you start taking all the expenses away, you run it like a business, then you start to see that, there's real expenses running this business, but the value is incredible from it because once you start doing this and you build your machine, we're going to talk about that. What is your profit master investing strategy? What's your best thing that's working right now? One of your best strategies, and why is it working?
I would say our best. I'm going to share two, but our best strategies is basically it's nothing fancy. There's no secret about it. It's just direct mail marketing to motivate sellers,
right?
And online marketing. We've done quite very well with online marketing.
What kind of specific online marketing?
With SEO and PPC, well, we're just getting into the PPC. Well, our most profitable niche, believe it or not, is SEO.
Okay, SEO being search engine optimization. So did you work with a company? Did you do it yourself? So you basically built your website and then you submitted it to the search engines, and now you're getting what's called organic traffic, where it's free, basically, traffic coming to you compared to what you mentioned, pay-per-click, which is you're paying Google or someone to appear in the results, and you get charged every month for some bill for how many clicks people have clicked on to find you. But on your SEO, you're saying that's been successful. Did you work with a company? Did you do it yourself? Why is it successful?
We've worked with several companies doing it, and it's an ongoing process. It's not something like direct mail,
right,
that works like fast immediately.
Right.
But when there was a certain tipping point that we got to once we did it. We kind of did it in the beginning just for credibility, because we knew that that if someone wanted to look at us and we had an established website, it was going to increase our credibility.
Right.
And the SEO, we just hired different companies to do it and kind of just kept going with it. And then we finally started making money on it.
Do you remember what the name of the companies that you worked with?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the name of the companies per se, but like the specific individuals, I work with a guy named Dave Brown. I don't know if you know Dave.
Yeah, I know Dave. Even he and I are friends on Facebook.
Yeah, Dave's, he's like, I know he's really good friends with Ken Clothier.
Ken Clothier, right, yep.
Worked with another guy named Amir. Amir's owns the Sell My House Fast for Cash domain or something like that, or Sell My House Fast domain, something like that. It's a national domain, and he also gets leads from all his SEO in each market, and he sells those leads to investors as well.
Right.
And some other guys that we've used, I don't remember, some guys that we had on Elance that we had for short term.
Elance now is Upwork, right? So it's like the same kind of virtual assistant service, yeah.
Yeah, so, we've done that, and we were looking, and, last year in 2015, we looked at our numbers, and our average cost per deal on SEO was like $1,000.
That's insane. So that's very, compared to $3,000-$4,000 a deal on your other marketing strategies, correct?
it was like $1,000 per deal. And then even better is that our average profit per deal on the SEO was ridiculously higher than any other niche. And I think, we made, I want to say somewhere around like 200,000 or 300,000 on SEO. And it was only like with like three or, maybe no more than 5 deals tops.
Wow.
So like it was like the deals that came in from SEO, we didn't get a lot of leads, but the leads that we did close on,
super
they were
profitable.
Dude.
Yeah. So yeah, $1,000 lead on SEO compared to what, 3,000 or 4,000, or maybe even $4,000 or $5,000 a lead on your other marketing channels. Would that be accurate?
Well, not a lead. I'm talking about a deal.
Right, a deal per deal.
A deal, yeah. On direct mail, we're closer to the $5,000 mark.
Wow.
So it's almost a fifth of the cost. And the profit margin is bigger on the SEO. So it's like,
how can we do more of that, right? Well, yeah, but the challenge is with SEO is that it's not something that's you can like turn the faucet on and off, right? Because you're depending on Google, you're depending on Yahoo, you're depending on. It's almost like saying referrals is my highest use of or best use of business. But it's hard to like control who talks about you and who doesn't, right?
It has a cap. It's not like marketing, like you said. It's not like direct mail where I literally
turn on the faucet, turn it off.
It's literally just like that. I mean, when you get dialed in with direct mail marketing, you've really honed it.
Right,
it's basically a dial switch, and you can crank it up or you can turn it down at will. And you can crank if you want to crank up this month 500 leads. You can just dial the cranker up. If you want to, turn it back down a little bit, you can crank down to 100. It's really a faucet, like you say.
Yeah.
So SEO is not like that, but it's still too good to turn down.
That's good. What's one piece of advice that you'd share about running a successful real estate business?
I would say 3 things. I would say get a mentor. I think that's. I don't think that if you want to go far in this business, you need a mentor. You need someone who's already been there, done that. I could just say, instead of taking you 10 years to learn it, he can make you learn it in 1 year. Surround yourself with highly successful people. We're in the same mastermind and we talked about it. I mean, being in a room full of the top players in the field
stretches your mind. It gives you new ideas to apply in your business. It's specific to real estate. So yeah, it's great.
It's incredible, dude. Like we just did 2 deals this month from being in this mastermind that we talked about, talking with Sean Terry, with Jeremy Rupp and some other guys are like, dude, start doing automated follow-ups. Right. And that was a concept that was kind of like, for us, like automated, like I don't know, I don't like the idea of a computer dialing people. The
cool thing is you're responding, and people are now calling you back, right? That's the cool thing. So you're throwing a bunch of hooks out. So I with automated follow up, it's like having a bunch of fishing rods, like just throwing all these lines in the lake, and you're walking away with all the in Oklahoma we go these catfish. You go catfishing, and so you put these little bells on your poles, right? And you throw them into each one of these spots, and you just walk away and hang out and talk, and then all of a sudden you hear a bell go ding, 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 and now fish is on, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing, man. Whenever you do this automated follow up, it's like you wait for the bell to ring because they're calling you back now.
Yeah, it was just a limiting concept, and we tried it, right. And press the button, calls go out. We literally got like 200 calls that same day. Our phone systems crashed.
What service did you use?
Callfire.
Callfire, okay.
And our phone systems crashed because now we answer calls live, so it was just like our lead manager was like, what the hell is going on? And she was going crazy. And we called our acquisition guys. We're like, get on Podio and just start calling back everyone, And we typed up 2 deals.
The business is going crazy. Right.
Yeah. I just stopped when that happened, and I just sat back, and I was just like in total amusement. I'm like, wow, we just set up 2 deals. We're just pressing a button. Like, how easy was that? It's phenomenal.
That's powerful.
So that's what happens when you surround yourself with successful people. Like I said, you stretch. And my last piece of advice would be become a student of success. I mean, every day, study it. Every single day, study, learn, grow. If you're not doing that every day, you're falling behind.
Let's talk about that. What if you had to start all over again? What would be some advice for some new investors?
If I had to start again all over again,
What would you change? What would be some advice that you give these newbies? You already mentioned a mentor. I know you mentioned that several times.
The mentor I got pretty fast, so I wouldn't change that. I mean, I could have not got it any faster at that time because I had no money, and basically I borrowed money to pay my mentor.
Gotcha.
So that I wouldn't change.
And look how successful you've become, and even catering so much towards that aspect of your success.
It's a no-brainer.
It's great.
I mean, the other thing I would say is pretty much what I mentioned to you earlier was if I had to redo it all over again, I would have built a marketing channel from the beginning, and like you said, allocated money to it. Now we don't put a percentage away towards marketing. I mean, we put a percentage away to cover business expenses, right?
Right.
But we reverse calculate, we reverse engineer. So I'm like, okay, if I want to make, this year our goal is $3 million in gross profit. I want to make $3 million in gross profit. How much do I got to spend in marketing to do that?
Yes.
I will allocate my percentages based on that, but I'm more looking at like my gross profit figure. So instead of like, if I need to spend more than 10% to get to that figure, then I'm spending more. You know what I mean?
Right. Even in breaking it down, it's how many, how much marketing, how many leads it takes to get a contract or get an appointment, how many appointments does it take to get to a contract, how many contracts does it actually take to get to a closing? Because some people think, well, just because you sign up a deal doesn't mean it's going to close.
And when you're starting, it's hard you won't have those numbers because you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
But don't fall for the trap that when you're 6 months down the road, you say, oh, I don't have time to figure this out. Because when you're first starting out, you don't have systems, you don't have people, you don't have this data.
It's all you, baby. It's all you. You're the CEO, you're the bottle, you're the cook, you're the washer, everything.
You're everything. So, it's easy to fall into the trap. Oh, that's not important. I just got to sell. Well, it is important because you got to have goals, and like your goals are not going to be accurate or realistic if you're not looking at actual data to support that. So like if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to do 30 deals this year, but you got to generate X amount of leads to do that. And your actions are not X amount of leads based on what your goals are. Your goals are to do that, but your actions are only supporting half of that, then you're going to fail. Right. So it's like, it's really important to look at those numbers at least on a quarterly or every 6 month basis.
Oh yeah. At least a week. I look at a week. I mean, if you look at it a week, if you don't look at it by a week, I mean, it can start to get away with you really fast. Like to be able to know a number, how much it takes to get the phone to ring. Right. That's a pretty powerful number, right? That way, okay, how many times is the phone ringing? How many times, are people calling? They actually have a house to sell. Here's a really aha moment that we figured out in our business that saved us almost 20%. Is just because someone's calling you from a postcard or doesn't mean they have a house to sell. Mm-hmm. And I thought that every person that's calling us, well, why would they be calling us if they didn't have a house to sell? Well, sometimes they're calling to complain. They're wondering where you got their name. Right. A lot of people are that because they're freaking out, right? Even though it's public record and, they're freaking out by that. Some people are calling because they want to ask you a question about their business, which is really strange. Some people are calling, there's all these different categories.
Right.
And it can suck up a lot of your time and resources.
Right.
So, there's some great ways to get around it. What's one of your favorite motivational or business quotes?
That was the hardest question for me to look at the other day.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's way too many. I'd say I put two that for me I love. One of them for me is the less I do, the more I make.
I like that.
I love that stuff. It's like a Zen type quote that I'm like, it's like every time I hear that, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
But for me, the other one, which I got on a Donald Trump audio book or something like that, it was about, he basically, I don't know, I'm sure you heard about it, but he basically compared like focus with the rays of the sun through the magnifying glass. Have you heard that one?
Yes.
Where basically, if you compare your focus as to like the heat of the sun and you get a magnifying glass and you put the sun through it, but the magnifying glass is far away from what you're focusing on and spread out, nothing really happens. But if you zone in until like the most tiniest dot and really get that focus, it's going to create fire and it's going to burn whatever it's focusing on,
Right.
So when I heard that, I'm like, wow, I'm like, yeah, it's so powerful, And we talked about that book the other day, The 4 Disciplines of Execution.
Love that
it's
book.
just about focusing on just those one or two things and forget everything else. It's really about narrowing focus.
We'll put that in the show notes too, the 4 disciplines of execution. Okay, so that's great. and a good way to think about that for the focus is, remember when your kid used to burn ants? Like if you're a guy, I mean, I used to burn ants like on the sidewalk. You'd put that little magnifying glass on the ant and you'd watch it catch on fire, right? And it's just, you're just a kid, right? Because you're having fun with the magnifying glass and you're catching stuff on fire. You're burning grass, and there's a little ant, and for some reason, this little helpless ant in your mind, you just want to burn it up for whatever reason. Maybe you got stung, maybe you're getting revenge back or whatever, but. It's interesting because that's a really good way to think about it, is that, that thing will catch on fire just from focusing on that one thing. And I know, our fellow and one of my best friends, Jason Medley, also talks about focus has been the biggest component for his success too. What is, those are good. Those are really good. What's a book that you recommend, or at least one that's had changed your life? I know you mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but what else?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I definitely recommend. I'd recommend. I wrote a couple of books here. I mean, every book I get, I literally always do something that changes things around. Like when I literally read a book, if I get any idea right away that I know is going to make a difference, I write it down right away. It's on my goal list, and I'm working towards getting that thing done.
That's great.
But, the No BS series of Dan Kennedy.
Those are great books.
Those books are phenomenal. E-Myth, great. Another book a lot of people don't know about. I don't know if you heard about. It's called Work the System by Sam Carpenter.
Yep, I got it right here. Yep,
it's a phenomenal book about systems.
This one, they got two different covers.
Oh, you got a different one. Yeah, mine's a white cover.
Yep. Great book.
Yeah, that Traction's been a really great book for us as well. We're just going through it now. Me and my partner, every Friday, we meet for our business development strategies, and we just take 2 or 3 hours and we just go through the book and just kind of implement everything.
That's incredible. That's a great book.
Yeah.
Gino Wickman is the author of that book.
Yeah. So, I mean, those books right there that I mentioned are all great.
There's another one with E-Myth is E-Myth Manager, which E-Myth is in the E-Myth Revisited. It's one of my favorite books, top 5 for sure. The E-Myth Manager, I actually didn't know anything about, and then I read that, and it was really good. So along the lines, he has Michael Gerber. At that time he had that kind of line, the E-Myth, and I think he changed it later on under either sold out that brand or something. But those books are phenomenal. Anything under E-Myth or Michael Gerber, he is such a great teacher. Learned so much from him.
Now they got the E-Myth Real Estate Investor.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Than Merrill, I believe, is behind that.
Yeah, so it's like, if you don't want to just get that one, because that one's really specific for your business, if real estate.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so what is a favorite mobile app that you use every day in your business?
Dude, I'm not cool like you, so I don't use any. I use no mobile apps.
That's hilarious. All right, yeah. So you don't use any mobile apps?
No, I mean I have Podio and on my.
Oh, there you go. Podio's a great mobile app. Come on.
But I never use it.
You don't use it on your phone?
I don't use it.
You're kidding me. I run my whole life on Podio. Are you kidding me?
I do too, but I just check on the computer. I don't use it on my phone. Wow, and I got I think every now and then I may use the Constant Contact app. If a buyer all of a sudden calls me or texts me and says, "Hey, I got your number from so and so. Can you add me to your buyers list?" And I'll just put them I'll just open the app up and just put their name in the list.
Right. There's an app I want you to download just because you said that now. It's called Gratitude. See this? It's called Gratitude. Okay. So every day at 3:00, this little app pops up and it says, "What are you grateful for?" And I wouldn't even think about it, just kind of in the same fashion. Of course, every day I'm kind of, I have my routine in the morning and stuff, but I wouldn't. This thing prompts you, right? Every day it says, "What are you grateful for?" And then you can write it in, and it gives you this great little practice. So I'm challenging you to download the Grateful app. It's called Gratitude, and it's for, at least on this one, it's for the mobile, the iPhone. So I'll go ahead and put that link in the show notes for others to download. It's a really great little app, but that's pretty funny that you don't use a lot of apps. But that's great because there you go. You don't have to have a lot of mobile apps to run a successful real estate business. Do you have a morning ritual that you follow?
Yeah. It's changed. It's changed. It changes through time. But for right now, my morning ritual is I wake up, typically around 6:30, 7, depending what time I go to sleep at night. I'm up. I do my spiritual exercise for 30 minutes, which is basically, me just chanting a spiritual word that kind of connects me with God. And, I do that for about 20, 30 minutes. So, I guess you can call it meditation, if you will. From there, I have breakfast, usually eat.
What is kind of the time frame here?
So meditation's about 20, 30 minutes. Breakfast, I'll eat, and takes me 15, 20 minutes to eat. But I will.
Is it like
every
every morning the same time? At like 5, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning? What kind of?
Yeah, I'm usually up by 6:30.
6:30.
6:30 or 7. One of those two.
Okay.
And wake up. First thing I do is just put on my robe and I'm going outside and I'm meditating.
I like that. That's cool.
If it's raining, then I'm in my living room or something. But I do that first. Then I'll just go cook something up for breakfast, whether it's some cereal or some eggs and toast or whatever. Have that. If I have enough time, I'll sit down and I'll read. Typically something I'll just read for about 20, 30 minutes. And then I'll hit the gym. I'll go to the gym, either do some yoga or do some weight training or just some cardio, just something to just get me moving. Because if I feel like I don't exercise, I feel like I'm not taking care of myself.
No, your body's meant to move. Like it's meant to move, right? Yeah.
I got it. So, one thing too is if sometimes, if from lack of discipline, if I go to sleep too late at night or I just too hard for me to wake up in the morning,
right?
Can't exercise. What I'll do is just right before I start my day and get into the office, I got that from Tony Robbins. I'll just blast up music and I'll just jump up and down and move and scream and just have like a priming session of like 10 minutes just to boost my energy up,
I use this thing called Rebounder. It's a little trampoline, and jumping on it for 10 minutes is equivalent to running, they say, for 30 minutes. So it's a little trampoline, and it's incredible. It's called Rebounder.
Yeah.
But yeah, same kind of things. You getting that energy up in your body and getting your blood rolling. Yeah.
It's great to do that, like at least, twice or 3 times a day. Anytime I feel like my energy levels are kind of coming down throughout the day, I just stop what I'm doing, prime, and I just prime again, just get back up, and it just immediately just changes my focus and my state of mind,
That's true. What's a great lesson that you've learned that's helped you get to where you are today, Gabriel?
I would say that for me, the biggest lesson has been always learn from someone who's been there, done that, So
I'm going back to the mentor.
Always learn from someone who's been there, done that. And if you want to have a quantum leap, that's how you do it. I mean, there's no reason to make all the mistakes that people have gone through and go through all the hardships someone has gone through when they've already walked it. It's like you want to go climb Mount Everest on your own when there's so many people who have done it and they say, hey, look, this is how you do it. I've had friends who've died climbing the mountain, or I've had people get really messed up. You don't need to go through that. Just do this and you'll climb,
What are you most grateful for?
I would say, man, I'm most grateful for my spiritual path. For me, that's really brought me, love and peace. And those two things for me are the most important, because if you have love and you have peace, everything else just falls into place. You can have all the money in the world and all success, but if you don't have love or peace inside of yourself, it's meaningless.
Tony Robbins says that success without fulfillment is failure.
It's failure. Yeah.
I think that sums it up pretty good. What point would you recommend hiring a mentor? And I know you've already mentioned how important it's been to you, but what point would you recommend in someone in learning, investing in this business, would you recommend to hire a mentor?
I would say once you've decided that you're fully committed, that like once you know that this is it and you're going in and you're not going to stop until you're going to make this happen, just get one, because that's it. You're committed. You're not going to waste your money. spending, going through a mentor your time and then figuring out, nah, this isn't for me, and you just wasted all this time and money. I mean, once you know this is it, and this is like, hey, do or die, I'm going to get this done, or I'm going to die doing this, then go get one because you're ready,
So there's a term called trench foot, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's not the time to hire a mentor, what I hear you saying. Whenever you have all your chips rolling in saying, I know this is it. I know I can do this. I know I see other people doing it. They're not any better than me. They know more than me. That's what I need. I need knowledge. I need to understand it. I need somebody to walk me through. That's whenever it's time to get a mentor.
Yeah, when you're all in. Even without your mentor, you're going to be successful. But like I said, how long is it going to take you?
It's like going through a minefield, right? If you know where the mines are, you're not going to get blown up as much, right? And you may be successful for a little bit, but you may get blown up. Yeah. I mean, I know guys that got involved with the business and they got blown to smithereens, and it's because a lot of it's because they just weren't willing to let down some of the pride. The hardest thing for a guy to do, okay, and I'd say I'm a guy, so I don't know how it is necessary for a woman, but for a guy, the hardest thing in the world to do is to give up your pride. Because whenever you do, and you're saying, and actually I should say it this way, is ask for help. Because whenever you ask for help, a part of something of whenever we are brought up says that we're a less of a person. And it's a mindset tweak. You have to get this right. Listen to what I'm saying here, listeners. And Gabriel, I know you'll agree with me on this. Mindset is so crucial to your success in life. Tony Robbins says that 70 or 80% of success is mindset, and 20% or less is mechanics, right? The thing we teach about for our 3Ms for success is mindset, mechanics, and money. And it's so important that you change these concepts around of asking for help is less, or makes me less of a person. You got to tweak that around and saying asking for help or getting a mentor or teacher gives me the best chance to have the optimal results. Because if you know where the mines are, you're not going to step on them. When you have a mentor there that is leading you through the potential devastation field, because there is a lot of things that can blow you up. And if you're not willing to let down the pride, then I promise you're going to get hurt when you don't really need to, just because there's opportunities out there that you can avoid it.
Yeah, and just, for people tuning in, like when I first started, right, I took the Rich Dad seminar, and that was in November of 2011. Okay, from November to 2011 to like May or June of 2012, I think all I made on my own was like $1,000 or $2,000. I got my mentor in around May. We started working like around June. By October, I got my first deal where I think I made like 10 or 12,000. Fast forward to the next year, I was making 6 figures, and I would have never gone there that fast without a mentor. Like if I would have never got my mentor, I still would have been struggling the next year.
And you're perfect example. So, there you are. So June or so, you get your May or June, and then October, you have your first kind of bigger paycheck, right? So June, July, August, September, October. So you have 4 or 5 months there of learning. You've had frustration. You had to fight through it. You have potential that you're going to quit, but you didn't, and you kept going. And you probably invested, I'm guessing, probably anywhere from $8,000, $10,000, $15,000.
Yeah, I paid my mentor $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000.
And then I split in my deals with him 50-50. So everything I did, the first 4 deals, we split 50-50. So he probably made off of me, $50,000, $60,000 is really what I paid for it. But if I had to do it over again, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
That's great.
And I'm not a mentor, so like I'm not an active coach. So people may think, he's probably trying to sell me on doing mentoring and stuff like that. I'm not. It's common sense. If you're thinking about profit, you're thinking about your return on investment, you're thinking about what your time is worth. If you want to maximize those things, you need to find someone who can just shorten the path and the learning curve to success.
I love it. If you had to summarize it, why do you do what you do?
I do what I do to be the best in my field, to be the best person I can be. to challenge myself, to push boundaries, to grow. And in a short word, I'd say mastery. You know, for me, it's like I want to be a master in life, and real estate is the medium that really just engages me like fully. It excites me. I'm engaged. I'm locked in. I'm excited about my day. I'm constantly focused. I'm working towards something big, and it's all about mastery. You know.
That's great. How can our audience here help serve you? What can we do? What's the best way to contact you? What can we do to help you, Gabriel?
Yeah, I mean, as far as helping me, I mean, if, you know, anyone listening is interested in buying houses in our market in South Florida, or interested in, you know, working with us as a private lender, we have a private lender program in our company where we pay lenders, you know, 10 to 12% on their money, guaranteed interest. Either that, you know, those are pretty much the two ways that, you know, if you're listening, you can help in. As far as contacting me, you can contact my executive assistant, and she fields all my communication. Her name is Sarah.
Okay.
You can contact her at Sarah with an H at the end, so it's SARAH at FloridaCashHomeBuyers with an S at the end.com. That's her company name. So it's Sarah at FloridaCashHomeBuyers.com.
Great. Okay, I'll put that in the show notes. Gabriel, thank you for taking the time to be on here. I really appreciate you opening up. It's incredible to see your success. I love hearing stories like yours that everyone has their own kind of take on this business. It's obvious to me one of the reasons you're successful is that you're just a learner, you know, and you apply. You know, even before we took this did this interview, you're asking a bunch of questions, you're writing stuff down, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I know immediately after we get off this call, you're going to go and buy a book or you're going to go buy this course. I just know that's your personality. And I can relate with that because I'm a lot that same way. And it's a lot to say for that, man. There's so many opportunities that people miss because they don't take action on it. And they just hear something, but they didn't listen. And so I want to just congratulate you. I want to acknowledge you for being a good listener and for being a good action taker. And that's one of the reasons that you're successful. And I appreciate that so much to talk to someone that I respect in that level. Also, congratulations on your baby, and also on your, you know, fiance, let's just say right now. And whenever you guys, actually get married, that'll be very exciting. But I know it's cool to see your baby crawl. You're so excited about that. Yeah. So, that's the really fulfillment, I think, part of this business. And how great is it to not have to go to a job, right? Where a boss says you have to show up here at this time. You have to take lunch at this time, come back at this time. If you don't want to get out of bed, you don't have to. Because at this point in life, you've built the business where it serves you, not you having to serve it constantly. And even though that we choose to do that, you have a lot of fulfillment, obviously, in that. I can tell you're excited about it. And that's a big part of success in life, too, is doing something that not only you really are passionate about and love, right, but you also are looking at it in a way that can help, excite you for the future, right, for what your potential or what I call the efficacy of what your potential is that you may not even absolutely realize how powerful is.
Yeah, and I was listening to that interview you gave me the other day about Married for Leo and David Bach.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that this year, man. I'm gonna take a 5 or either 4 to 6 weeks off, and I'm just gonna disconnect completely. I don't know where I'm gonna go yet, but I'm gonna do that this year.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, we'll put that down there in the show notes too. The Maria Forleo and David Bach, that interview they did just recently was really powerful. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure that you are on our next Profit Masters podcast series, and we're going to have more incredible guests just like Gabriel. So have a productive, fun, phenomenal day, Gabriel.
Thanks, man. You too, Corey. Thanks for having me on, man.
See you later. Remember, be a servant. Bye now.
Awesome, for sure.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master Podcast series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening and stay tuned for our next episode.